Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. So today we have got a request asking for how to integrate the JMeter project into Azure repository and how to run a test using the Azure repo and the JMeter. So today we are going to see how to do that. So how to use the Git to move the script from our machine to the Azure repository, and from there we are going to run a test in JMeter, a JMeter test. So thankfully for asking this question, and we will see in this video how to do that in step by step. So I have already drafted the steps. So we're going to create a repository in Azure DevOps. First, before that, we're going to create a project and then a repository and then a repository, and then we are going to do a git init from our machine where we have our script, and then we are going to add the file, we are going to commit the file, we are going to push it, and then the rest of it is going to be in the Azure DevOps where we are going to release the create a release pipeline and set up the JMeter test execution pipeline. So if you have not subscribed to our channel, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, ask your questions and comments in the comments section, and share the video. So with no further ado, let's go to the video. So first we will create a project. So I'm going to click create new project, and it's going to be Azure repo with JMeter, and this project is going to be a private, and under advanced we have the git and the basic. And let's now use create. So we have created the repository, the project. So this is done. So let's now go to the create repository. So let's go to the repository, and here we have got the values where we can use to clone the project, or where we can use to push the repository into the project. So let's now go to a folder where we will have to have the JMeter file, because that is the one that we are going to upload it to the Azure repository. So let's go back to the folder, and here I have the folder. So this is my file which I am going to upload and which I'm going to use for the testing. So let me open a command prompt. So here's the command prompt, and this is where I have the folder. So let me do a git init. So I did the init, and let me check the status of it. So now we have one file which is untracked. So we are going to add the file, and let's do a status now. So let's commit the file. This is going to be the first commit, and let's do another status. So we have nothing to commit and everything is committed. And let's now set up the upstream of the project. So we are going to connect our machine to the Azure repository. So how are we going to do that? So for that, let me go back to the Azure repository. So here I have the Azure repository, and then I'm going to copy this line, which is git remote add origin, and then I'm going to give this name. I'll explain you what I'm giving here. Just copying it, and so here you can see, so git remote add origin. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding this remote as my origin, and this is the origin location, so which is under my Azure. I have created this project, and under this Azure repo project I'm going to create I'm going to upload this in the repository. So let me click enter, and now we have set it up. So in fact we can even check it. So how to check it is we have to go to the under the .git file, and then under the config, if we open it, let me show you because this is quite important to know. And here you can see the remote is set as origin, and this is the URL. So even in fact if you want to change, or even if you want to set it, we can even use, instead of going to the command prompt and entering, you can automatically do it here. So this is a quite a simple tips and tricks. In case if you don't find your origin correct or if something is wrong, you can just check it in the git config file. So to open that, you have to go to the .git folder, and under that you can find it in the config folder. So let's now go back and in the command prompt, so we have set the remote origin. So the next thing which we are going to do is, which is already given here, so it is git push origin all. Let's go back to this command prompt, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to git push -u and origin all. So here you can see I'm getting an error. So in case if you also experience this error, let's look for a solution for that now. So far what we have completed is we have created a repository, we have did a git init, we have added the file, we did a commit, but the push failed, telling that there was the connection reset. So we're going to fix the connection reset. So let's see how to fix the connection reset. So for that, I'm going to open the control panel, and under control panel we'll have to open the network and internet, and then let's open the network and sharing center. Under that, let me open the change adapter settings, and then the Wi-Fi, since this is the network I'm using. So in case if you are using an Ethernet to connect to your computer, you can select that. So most of us use the Wi-Fi connection. So let me right click and go to properties, and under this networking section you will have multiple protocols connecting. So just go to the internet protocol version 6 or TCP/IP v6 and check it, and then let's click on OK and minimizing this, and when I'm giving it now, yes, so we have fixed the connection reset issue, and we have fixed the connection reset issue by disabling IPv6. Got it? So let's go to the next part. So let's go to our pipeline and check whether we have got the files. So here we can see we have got the files now. So we have completed the push file step as well. We have pushed the files to remote origin, and it is done. So the next step is going to be creating the release pipeline, and let's see how to run the JMeter test. So before we move on to create release pipeline, let's do another thing, which is we will create a branch, because anytime when we make a change, we are not supposed to make the change directly in the master. So what we will do now is let's create a branch. So I'm going to click create new branch, and it's going to be develop. So develop is going to be the new branch. So what does the branch mean? So anything which is latest until the latest commit will be in the develop branch. So we have two branches. So let's go to the files, and here we can see we have two branches. One is the master and the other one is develop. So in case if we are making any changes in the develop, say for example, if I'm going to the develop, and in case if I want to change the number of users which I'm going to run for the test, so in case if I want to change it to 10, so I can go to edit, and then I can edit the thread numbers, which is the number of users, to 10, and then I can do a commit. So I have updated the users or user load. The branch name is develop. When I click on commit, so automatically my changes is committed. And in case if you want to upload this change to the master, so what we can do is we automatically will get this create pull request option. So I'm going to choose create pull request, and here under the pull request we can see the branch that we have made the change and the master branch. So for example, if you are choosing again the master, you can see this message that there are no changes between these selected branches, since they're both are the same. And in case if you are keeping master and then you are choosing the develop, so again you can see there are no changes. So we have to be very careful in choosing from which branch to which branch we are going to do the pull request. So we are going to push the change from the develop branch to the master branch. So the title is going to be updated user load. In case if you have any story in your Jira or anywhere, you can use that as your title. And then in case if you want to add any reviewers, you can add them here and we get it approved from them. So I don't have anybody here. And if you go to files, you can automatically see here. So this is the only change we have made and this is the commit we did. So let me again go back to the overview and I'm going to click on create. So when I click on create, and I automatically approve it since it's under my control. So I approve and I do a complete, and you get multiple options whether it has to be a merge, no fast forward, or it has to be a squash commit, or it has to be a rebase and fast forward or semi-linear merge. So here you can see if I'm choosing merge fast forward, automatically this works this way. So your merge will automatically go and get committed, but if it is a squash commit, it will be like this. So this is how it works. I'm going to do the squash commit and I've completed the merge. And so here you can see, so these are the commits I have made and there is no branch since we have moved it to develop to master. And then here we can see the push request. So whatever push requests we had, we can see it here. And since we moved the changes, so automatically our develop branch has been deleted, and then we can see the branches here. So as I told you, since we have moved the changes, automatically our the develop branch has been deleted. And in here we can see whatever the pull requests we have did. So I did a pull request, but it's not active, it's completed. So you can see it here. Okay, so let's now go to the pipeline. So we are going to create a release pipeline. I'm going to click on releases, and under releases I'm going to click on select new pipeline. And under artifact, we all know, let's select an empty job and we'll go to add an artifact. So here we have multiple options as we have seen in our previous videos, but what I'm going to choose now is I'm going to choose the Azure repo, since this is where we have the file, and the project is going to be our Azure repo with JMeter. The source repository is again Azure repo JMeter, and the default branch, which is going to be the master, which is the final version, and we're going to use the latest from the default branch. And I'm going to add this. So we have added the repository, and then I have the stages. So I'm going to choose the stage, and then let me choose the job. So under agent job, I'm going to add, at first I'm going to add the JMeter. So if you haven't installed it previously, please do install JMeter from the marketplace. Since I have installed it already, I'm going to add it, and this will bring in 5.4.2 with the version 5.4.2, and these are the plugins which we are going to use in case if we have already added it, we can use them. I am not going to make any other changes in the control options or in the output variables, and so since this is going to be a very simple test. And the next task which I'm going to add is the command line, since the test is going to be in a command line mode, which is in a non-GUI mode. In case if you haven't seen my video on the best practices of the performance testing using JMeter, you can visit it, because I have taken a detailed video on why are we using command line and what are the advantages of using command line script. So now let us enter the command line to execute the test. So the command line is going to be JMeter -n, which tells us this test is going to be in a non-GUI mode, and -t will tell us what project or what test are we going to run. So the test or the JMX file which we are going to run is the csv sample.jmx, and then -l will tell us the results file which we are going to use for extraction, and then -e and -o to extract, -e and -o to extract the folder to the output folder, which is going to be reports. So this is so simple. So we have defined JMeter in the non-GUI mode with the file name csv sample.jmx, and the results file is going to be results.gtl with the command line with the command -l, and then we have with the argument, and then we have the argument -e-o for the reports file. And then under advanced, we are going to change the working directory because this is the one where we are going to connect our project. And here I'm going to take this project in here, then I'm clicking on OK. I'm not going to make any other changes in here. In case if we want to add, we will just look at in our next videos. And then let me add the last job, which is the publish. And then this is going to be publish release artifact, so I'm going to add it. And under publish release artifact, I'm going to choose the file or the folder that should be uploaded. So this is the one that we are going to upload the file. I'm just choosing it, and I'm not going to make any other changes. So far what we did is we have created a pipeline. We have set up the repository, which is the Azure DevOps, and then we have added the JMeter command line script, and then we used upload release artifact. So these are the three things which we added under the job, the three tasks. And next thing which we are going to do now is we're going to save the changes and create the release and execute the test. Let's do that, and let me save the release. So saving the changes for release pipeline, clicking on OK. And now let's click on create release, and the stage is going to be stage 1, and this is going to be a JMeter test using Azure repository with JMeter plus Azure Pipeline. So let me click on create. So far we made the changes, we have done this, we have set the repository as Azure DevOps, and we have created the release. So let's go back to the release one, and let's go to the stage 1. Let's click on deploy, and we are going to execute the release pipeline, and this is going to be run number 1. Let's click on deploy, and let's go to the logs, and here we can see what's happening in the logs. Let's wait for some time for the queue to get processed. So since we have got an error, and when I check the working directory, so I had the CSV file here, so I'm just removing it, and let me save it again. So here I have made the changes, so let me save it again, and I'm clicking on OK, and let me create a release again, and I'm creating it. So this is going to be release 2, and let's run the test again. So sometimes this kind of error might happen, so we have to be very careful in reading and understanding what and where does this error happens. So this comes in practice. So if you keep on practicing these changes, we might be easily able to understand where does it fail. Yes, so since after I made the changes in the releases where I have updated the working directory, and now the test is completed. So let's go to the download all logs, and I have downloaded the logs, and here let me open the file. And if you remember, we have created a file for the folder for the reports. So we have the other folder here, and let me extract that too. And under this, under reports, if you remember, we have created the argument line under the reports, and here we have got the file. So under the reports, we have the index.html, and when I open it, you can see a dashboard with the results. So everything is passed here, and then we have the charts, we have the overtime, we have the response overtime, and then we have the throughput. So we have the various other reports as well, and then the response times. So we can see the tables for each of them, the response times, and then the time versus threats. So we can see here, so all of them comes along with this report, and then the response time distribution. So we can collect all these graphs in case we need to have them, and in fact we have the custom graphs as well. So apart from this, what else we have? So if we go back to the report, so we have this results.jtl, and I have my JMeter open. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the results, the file in here. So under summary report, I'm going to open the browse, and I'm going to open the results.jtl file. So if you remember, I had 10 users. Sorry, let me just clear it, and I'll open it again. So if you remember, we had changed the user count from 5 to 10, and this is the count of it. So I have 10 samples, which is 10 users, and this is the average response time of them, and then the minimum, and then the maximum, and here we can see the throughput and all the other data. So this is how we can successfully run first thing is like successfully connect your project to your Azure repository, and in case if you find any connection reset issue, just disable your IPv6, and then we have set up the pipeline, the release pipeline in Azure DevOps for the JMeter, and then we ran a test. We made the changes, we have even pushed the repository. So we made multiple changes, and I believe you would have understand how to use the Azure repository, Azure DevOps, and then the JMeter test. So I believe this video would be very useful to you. In case if you have any other doubts, please do comment in the comment section. So until I meet you in another interesting video, it's bye from Vasan Shanmugam and Little's Law.